Assalamu alaikum. So today our topic is does the Quran say the sun sets in the water? So it's a very debatable topic regarding the critics, which has been going in the surface for a very long time. Even now, after a lot, I know a lot of Muslim scholars have been debunked this thing, but still this thing is still surfacing. That's why we're making this video. So let's go further and see what the scholars of Islam understood from this verse and how should we respond to this verse. So this is the verse which comes from Surah Al-Kahf 18.86, and this is the Arabic, and here is the transliteration of the part where the confusion mainly occurs. So first we have to understand, like, what is this verse saying. This verse is actually talking about a king, a ruler, whose name was Dulkarnain, and here are the three translation of this verse. So first one comes from Sahih International. It says, until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it as if it was setting in a spring of a dark mud, and he found near it a people. Allah said, O Dulkarnain, either you punish them or else adopt among them a way of goodness. So now there is the second translation I picked is from Pickthall, who is very renowned in the Western literature. So what did he say? He said, till when he reached the setting place of the sun, he found it setting in a muddy spring, and found a people thereabout who said, O Dulkarnain, either punish or show them kindness. Then I picked Muhsin Khan, another good translator. What did he say? He said similar, but he just added. He said, until when he reached the setting place of the sun, he found it setting in a spring of black muddy or hot water. Notice here, ladies and gentlemen, he included hot water. So his translation moved away from muddy spring to temperature of the water. So, and now you may ask why, like, why did he move to temperature? The thing is, first of all, we have to understand the Arabic language. That Arabic language is not like the English language. It is one of the three Semitic language, and among those three Semitic languages, this is the only existing Semitic language in the current world. So there is a beauty about Semitic language is Semitic language's vocabulary is huge. Like, for example, a word can mean like different things in Semitic language. For example, if we look at this verse 18.8, wajadaha, it means he found it. Tagurubu means setting, fi means in, and we have ainin, which literally means, like, here I included three translations. One can be either mean sea, or it can be either mean a large body of water, or it can also mean a spring. And hamiyatin, which means either dark mud, or it can also be murky water. Hopefully that clears your confusion about Semitic language. And there are like three Semitic language I told you about, and these are Arabic, Aramaic, and Hebrew. These are the three Semitic language, and we all know that Aramaic and Hebrew is like almost non-existent. And some Jew, yes, they use some Hebrew, but it's not like widely popular among the people, but Arabic is. So in the next slide, this slide we are showing you like many like a compilation of many translators of the part of Ainin Hamiyatin, or the last words from Sahih International. It says that meaning means a spring of dark mud, which is very literal. And if you look at Pickthall says it's a muddy spring. It's also very literal, but much more simpler. And Yusuf Ali, he said it's a spring of murky water, and he moves away from the mud. And Muhammad Shakir, he says it's a black sea, and he translated it as a sea, and also he changed the from dark to direct black. And then we have Muhammad Sarwar, another renowned translator. He says it's a warm source of spring water, and he didn't even bother to go to like the color, or like was it dark or black. He just directly moved to the temperature of the spring. And then we have Arbery. He says it's a muddy spring, which is like similar to Pickthall. Then we have got Mohsin Khan, and he said it's black, muddy, or hot water. So it's like similar to Yusuf Ali and also Muhammad Shakir. It's like a compilation of all a lot of them. So yes, these are the like the various translators who translated it into this. And now the thing is, are they wrong? No, they are not, because that's what they understood from the verse, from the words what it's saying. So now the question comes is, before we go any further, like, who is this Dulkarnain we are talking about? Like Dulkarnain, like there are many theories and there are many speculations. Like who was he? Like he was a very, what we know, like he was a very old king. He was from a very very long time ago, and many historians and many people, they say, like there are lots of theories which has resurfaced. For example, some people says that he was Cyrus the Great, who was a Persian king, the liberator of Babylon, and also who was the savior of Jews at that moment. And some people, they say that Alexander the Great, who was a Greek conqueror, legendary traveler, and everybody knows he conquered like almost like one third of the whole earth. Then also another, some people, they believe that he was a Yemeni king who was ruling in the southern Arabian Peninsula. But the thing is, none of them has like concrete evidence that they are Dulkarnain. And there are also some other problems. For example, those people who says that Alexander the Great, who was Dulkarnain, it can be possible because here we can, from the Surah Al-Kahf, when we read the story of Dulkarnain, we find out that he is a Muslim. And who is a Muslim? A Muslim is a man, and Muslim is a person who worships only Allah and Him alone. He doesn't bow before any other gods or idols or anything. And Alexander the Great, we know he's a Greek conqueror, and we know the Greeks are they used to worship like pagan gods. Even these days, they worship pagan gods. So like Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, those things. So Alexander the Great, he definitely cannot be Dulkarnain. So this is like not possible. So, but does the Quran or Islam says anything about it? No, we don't, because this is like a one of the, I think this is the only part where we can find his story in the Surah Al-Kahf. Other than that, I didn't find his name in other surahs, in other chapters of Quran. So the thing is, the Quran is silent in his who was he. So it's better not for us to like to guess and throw stones here and there, like who was he, because it is not necessary for us. We know that he was a king, a ruler was from a very, very, very old time. And also, of course, the knowledge always comes from Allah, and He knows the best. So now let's go back to the topic. Our topic, like the sunrise, the sunset, the sun sets in the murky water or not. The thing is, if we believe in the sun's rises or the sunsets, does that means we are all like flat earth believers? No, we are not, because here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm showing you a I'm showing you a screenshot from the when the what does the weather channel of a Canadian website says. It says here, you can clearly say there's a sunrise, sunset, and day length of July 2026, which is this month. So the thing is, so why they are using this term like sunrise and sunset? Because we all know that's not how the sun works. Because we know that the earth moves around the sun, and whichever side is facing the sun, that part is daytime, and whichever part is not facing the sun, that part is night. So technically the sun never rises or the sun never sets. So we all know that, and but still, to make people understand, to keep it simple, that's why we use these terms. The sun rises from the east. Technically we know that the sun never rises from the east, it is earth's rotation. So now, are we all the flat earthers? No, it doesn't. So why I'm saying this, flat earthers? Because the thing is, when we look at another surah, another chapter of the Quran, which is Surah Rahman, verse number 17, here Allah says that He is the Lord of the two sunrises and Lord of the two sunsets. Now viewers may ask this question, like, where did these two sunrises and two sunsets comes from? Now if we think on, like, this is a scientific phenomenon. If we look at deep into this verse, like, if we look at a flat surface, there will be only one sunrise, because when if for example, you can look at a table where the sun look at the table which is close to your window where the sunlight is coming out, you can see that only one side is having the sunlight. But now if we try to flip the table, then we can find it that suddenly one part becomes one part goes into the shadow, and the other part comes to the light. So because this is a flat surface, that's how it's happening. But and also in the flat surface, we can also see one other thing will be that the sun's path, it will be on the same direction every day. But if the shape changes from flat to a spheric sphere, like our earth, and now viewers may ask, what's a sphere? It's like a shape of, like an orange or an egg. You can see like a round shape. I won't say circle, because circle is like a two-dimensional thing, but sphere is like a three-dimensional. So yes, so when it comes to a sphere, we can find that the sun rises and sets in a different point of the horizon throughout the whole year. It depends on the seasons entirely. For example, in summer, when it's summer, the sun rises from the northeast and it sets in the northwest, and in winter it rises from the southeast and it sets in the southwest. Why? Because of the rotation of the earth. So now we are showing you another scientific source. It's a very renowned channel. I believe everybody knows this channel. You can see it from the logo. It's another screenshot. It's from National Geographic. It's a very highly renowned channel. Like, everybody knows this channel, and I do enjoy their content a lot. So shout out to National Geographic. So here National Geographic, one of the leading scientific channel of our time, here they are also saying this is the 21 gorgeous sunrise and sunset photos. So if a scientific source, if a highly renewable scientific channel like National Geographic or the meteorologists or the astronomers, they can say that sunrise sunset to make normal people understand, why can't the Quran use it? Is this like a double standard? This is like completely double standard. Now, people may ask, like, the counter argument, oh, so what about the Muddy Spring? So my response is, the same critics that say the sun rise today. So I know we all know this is gonna be wrong, because it never rose, because it happened because of the Earth's rotation. So if the sun never rose, so are they wrong? No, we can't say that they're wrong, because this is the language which is describing the observation, and this is universal to all cultures and time. And so, excuse me, even let's look at the early scholars of Islam. Like, what did they say? For example, very renowned scholars, Ibn Kathir, what did he say? He said that Dulkarnain, he saw the sun setting into the ocean from his standpoint, and this is like something which everybody can see when they reach in the coast. So even he is using this term, like this is what Dulkarnain is saying. It's like, what is he watching from his perspective? So my question is, if the meteorologist or a scientist or a nuclear researcher, if they say the sun rises from the east, the sun rose from the and the sun sets in the west, to make a general people, for example, like a fisherman, like who's definitely not as much as knowledgeable as a nuclear researcher, to make both people understand the same term, like it's the daytime or it's the night time. For that, we can use for the simplicity, we use this term, the sunrise and sunset. So if these critics, they can use this term, so why can't Quran use this term? Why there is like a double standard? Like, here the double standard is like overwhelming. And it's kind of funny. I believe that should be our counter for all these critics. Now, another thing is, first of all, the Quran, it didn't send to as a science textbook. No, like it's not a science textbook. It didn't came to promote science, but it's like physics, chemistry, biology. No, it didn't came to that. It was the Quran has a totally different purpose. It came to guide the mankind, to help them recognize who is their creator. It's not a science book. But remarkably, when we look at in the modern science, so far what we have discovered, it never contradicts with established scientific facts. That is the beauty of the Quran. Like other scriptures, a lot of time they contradict with the established scientific facts. But here, Quran, it's not contradicting at all. And so this is the perfect ground for Quran, like why we chose to be a Muslim, because it never directly contradicts with science. And if you still think that Quran says on the muddy water, then yeah, maybe It's time to come out of the box and read what the actual scholars said about this, like even Kathir or some other scholars, early scholars, who what they understood from this verse, and none of them understood this, and none of them even thought of this, that the sun actually setting in the water. Actually, we never even think of that, because we know there's anybody in the coastline, they will see this thing, you see this natural phenomenon.